This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for Thursday, August 8th, 2024. I'm Marek Mazurek. Many parents dropping their kids off at college this month will see a very different housing landscape than when they went to school. Instead of local landlords in Spartan rooms, large national developers are now rushing to build resort-style apartments in college towns. George Tikajan is a vice chairman at the real estate services firm CBRE. He says big state schools like Purdue and IU have increasing enrollments but not enough housing to keep up. That makes it a simple supply and demand issue.
The student housing developers are focused on the large state universities. And the smaller private schools, which are generally struggling with enrollment, you're seeing very little of this type of student-specific development because it's hard to get financing and it's hard to get capital.
In West Lafayette, there are several high-rise apartment projects in the works. Landmark Properties recently announced a 680-bed resort-style development a few blocks from campus. Landmark also recently opened a 1,000-bed complex in Bloomington. And on Wednesday, the Verve complex held an opening a few blocks away for its 750-bed building, too. The new developments are being built as close to campus as possible in recent years. Even though land is more expensive, the size of the projects means the cost can be borne out over more people.
So student housing, when I was in school, was a niche product. It wasn't institutional at all. Most of the developers were local to the state, or even local to the city. Bloomington builders or Lafayette builders built the housing. But in recent years, it's a national business. It's become institutional, and institutions want to put out as much money as possible. So bigger isn't a challenge as long as the numbers work.
Some residents in West Lafayette and Bloomington see the new high-rises as taking away from the character of residential neighborhoods and pushing out more affordable options. But city officials in West Lafayette say the new projects create a trickle-down effect where students currently living in single-family homes will move into the new apartments, leaving those homes available for others. Marsh Davis, the longtime head of Indiana Landmarks, a not-for-profit that has helped preserve scores of historic buildings across the state, plans to retire in April after 19 years at the helm. Davis is 66 and has served as president of the Indianapolis-based preservation group since 2006.
I like the characters they contain, and so usually are visually interesting. Proportions are different than you have in some, the modern homes. It reflects a different era, a different way of life with, less emphasis on, say, the automobile or a lot of high technology.
Some of Indiana Landmark's top projects include preserving Busch Stadium in Indianapolis, now used as residential lofts, the Art Moderne Greyhound bus station in Evansville, now used as a restaurant, and the Reed Memorial Presbyterian Church in Richmond, which is now used as a community cultural center. Since it was founded in 1960, Indiana Landmarks has grown to become the nation's largest statewide preservation organization with more than 6,000 members and 9 field offices throughout the state. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Indiana, your bold future starts here. IBJ Media, Inside Indiana Business, and the Indiana Economic Development Corporation invite you to the Engage Indiana series, presented by CareSource, Indiana University, and Old National Bank. With an unrelenting focus on growing Indiana's economy, our Engage Indiana events take place in every region of the state. Discover when we'll be in your area at ibj.com/engage.
AES Indiana said Thursday it plans to invest about $1.1 billion in Pike County as part of its transition from coal to natural gas at its massive Petersburg generating station. The St. Petersburg station is the largest in the Indianapolis-based utility company's fleet and the only one that still uses coal as a fuel source. The investment would make AES Indiana the first utility in the state to abandon the use of coal if state regulators agree. The news comes 5 months after the utility announced plans to stop using coal by 2026 at St. Petersburg and triple its renewable portfolio by 2027. The Petersburg Power Plant, about 120 miles southeast of Indianapolis on the White River, has been called a, quote, super polluter by environmental groups and even by the Indianapolis City County Council, which passed a resolution in 2017 calling for AES to cut back on burning coal. The plant has racked up dozens of environmental violations for emitting excess sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxide particulate matter, and sulfuric mist. After more than 3 years of planning and construction, Fort Wayne-based Star Financial Bank cut the ribbon Thursday on its $45 million headquarters in the city's downtown. The development features 2 buildings totaling more than 80,000 square feet, as well as a 400-space parking garage. Located at 215 West Main Street, the opening of the facility comes as Star Bank celebrates its 25th anniversary of being headquartered in Fort Wayne, and just 1 year after the bank marked its 80th year of business. The bank said it retained 220 employees who have relocated to the new headquarters. And Evansville has been named the state's latest and largest clean community by the Indiana Department of Environmental Management. The designation recognizes Indiana municipalities that have taken steps to make their communities a cleaner, healthier, and more sustainable place to live. Evansville is Indiana's 3rd largest city and the 9th to earn the Clean Community designation. Media trailblazer Pat Carlini is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC. A weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Mark Mazurek for Inside Indiana Business Radio On Demand.